Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke taking the world by storm. We're looking into the phenomenon that is the Impossible Burger.
Is it a phenomenon?
I don't know. It seems to be everywhere.
It is everywhere.
I mean, it's at Burger King, and they only make the finest food. So sponsored by Burger King.
So, yeah, fun fact. For probably 2 years, my wife and I, when we first got married, ate at a Burger King like around the corner from where we lived, like 3-4 days a week.
Really?
I proceeded to have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, had to go on high blood pressure medication, and basically the doctor was like, "You are a moron. Why are you eating at Burger King 3 days a week?" So I haven't eaten at Burger King in ages.
You made the Super Size Me movie before it was cool.
I did.
Yeah, you really missed out on an opportunity there. All right, can you tell me about what this thing is, the Impossible Burger?
So the Impossible Burger is a plant-based burger or meat substitute.
I'm already skeptical.
They also do a couple other things too. They're experimenting with sausage and some other things. Domino's Pizza apparently is putting this sausage on their pizza. They're experimenting, but basically it's a veggie burger. I mean, it's a super fancy, and we'll talk about some of the engineering that's gone into it, but
Which
it's
is
basically
fascinating.
It's very fascinating. It's basically a veggie burger, but what I want to do is talk about the company for a second.
Ooh. So the main company.
The main
it.
company,
okay.
yeah. So
let's hear it.
So this is Impossible Foods, Inc. So this company develops plant-based substitutes for meat products. It was founded in 2011. It's headquartered in Redwood, California. And what they aim to do is give people the taste and nutritional benefits of meat without the negative health and environmental impacts associated with livestock products. So, fun fact, this cat, Pat, they call him O. Brown.
Now, not O apostrophe
No.
Brown. That's like his middle initial?
Yeah, I'm not
okay,
sure
just
what
putting
it
that
is.
out there.
He's a
Not a
Stanford.
Scot.
No, he is not. He's a Stanford biochemistry professor. And back in 2009, he took a sabbatical and committed to eliminating intensive animal farming. What are you doing with your sabbatical, James? Are you solving any world problems?
I'm heading over to Europe to end
Drink
world
wine.
hunger.
And drink wine.
Mostly drink wine.
And cheese.
And local thirst.
Yeah. So
I'm the worst.
So this cat decided to take a sabbatical from work and figure out this big problem that is animal farming. They take up a lot of resources. And 2 years later, he started Impossible Foods with the idea of replacing ground meat, which is one of the biggest meat production products that's made out there. And it's, of all the meats, it's the most processed, obviously, because it's ground up and it's not whole cuts.
Right. What's amazing to me is the progress that they've made when we get into the details with what all went into this in 7 years after sabbatical, and he actually started the company. That's crazy town.
It is. It's so have you had one yet?
No.
So I ate one at Burgatory.
And
actually my daughter got it. I got a regular one, but I had to taste it. Almost couldn't tell the difference, and I think I may have liked it better than my regular burger. So it was definitely different because it's more stringy than it is like the way ground meat is. So it was more like, imagine like a pulled pork patty that like stuck together like a burger consistency. So it was a little stringier, but I think I may have liked it.
I saw a few interviews online where they had longtime vegetarians eating this, and their reactions were not positive because it was so meat-like.
Yeah.
That, I mean, they've gone so long without eating meat that it resembled,
they didn't like it.
They couldn't, they were like, oh, this is meat and I can't eat any more of it.
Well, a fun fact, it wasn't really targeted at vegetarians.
Right.
So whenever he started this, it wasn't about, oh, let's make a veggie burger for vegetarians so they can eat hamburgers. This was, hey, let's target meat eaters and let's give them something that isn't meat, that doesn't have all, again, those negative impacts, yada, yada, yada. And then we'll convert them to vegans and vegetarians and Birkenstock wearers.
Like you.
Like me.
Yeah. So did you see also, along with Patrick O'Brown, that's his new name, we're going to go with that,
Patty.
I think. Patty O'Brown. He had his buddy David Lipman, who's the chief science officer at Impossible Foods. He's a biotechnologist and genomes expert.
Wow.
When you start saying words like that and having that in your title, you know, he's way outside of our league to actually understanding what's
I feel
going
like
on.
Most people are outside of our league.
That's
saying.
true. That's a good point. But this guy, Lippmann, said that the science team spent years analyzing meat and recreating every element of the sensory experience. And this is what makes it different than like those veggie patties and things like that. So everything from like the flavor that you've been talking about, but also the smell, the texture's pretty close. Just how it feels, the nutritional facts, we can get into those later, but they're relatively close, as well as my favorite, the sizzle factor.
Yeah, so a big part, so they talked about like the sensory experience. Like if you just take meat and you don't cook it and you eat it, it's one sensory experience. If you do what my wife does and you cook this thing until it's basically a hockey puck, it's a different experience. So it's all those, it's taste, it's moisture, it's texture, it's the look, it's the smell. They talk about like hearing the sizzle on a grill, like it bleeds when you cook it. It's plant blood, which I'm assuming is kind of, I don't know.
I have a little write-up about that
shtick
plant
on
blood.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all those things. So imagine like your job as, a chemist working at Impossible Foods is I have to sit there and smell cooked veggie products until it smells like a burger smells. That's quite a job.
That is. So fun fact for all of you. So since you aren't experts on the Impossible Burger like Luke and I.
Experts.
We're actually now eating the Impossible Burger 2.0.
Yes.
Where the 1.0 used wheat protein instead of soy. But the good thing about that is now 2.0 is gluten-free.
Oh.
So all of you with celiacs or who pretend to have it, you can now eat the Impossible Burger 2.0.
I'm GF.
You're GF. All right. So genetic engineering was used to determine and make the ingredients. Determine, I was cool with. Then they threw in and make, and that makes me a little squeamish, So there's a bunch of essential ingredients to make both the taste and the texture of the meat.
Can I list them? I have the list.
Boy, do you have the list? Do you want to jump into that?
We could.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me the list.
Top 5. So the big ones: water, soy protein. This is 2.0. Soy protein concentrate, coconut oil, which I love, sunflower oil, and then natural flavors, which they're making it in a lab. I don't know how natural it is. And then it has 2% or less of all these other things. So things like, potato protein, yeast extract, salt, soy protein isolate, B12, give you a little bit of energy, niacin. These are those things that give it the nutritional profile, those 2% or lessers. But the big stuff that you see when you look at it is basically the soy protein, coconut oil, and the water.
I have a problem with people listing things like natural flavors as an ingredient.
Not sure what
what's
that
even
means.
mean?
Like, isn't salt a flavor?
It is, but I guess not natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you ever cooked with coconut oil?
I have.
We use it a fair amount when we're being pseudo-healthy and also for desserts. But I'm kind of surprised they use that in here.
Yeah, I am too. I think they use the refined stuff so it doesn't have the coconut flavor.
Right.
So
the secret sauce to all of this, which isn't really sauce, I guess, but it's let's try this one. The soy lega what? Not gonna work here anymore. Legamoglobin. How about that? Also called heme. Is that right?
Heme.
Gosh,
see, this is what so when you watch videos and you hear pronunciations, and it's lemoglobin.
Lemoglobin?
Yeah.
Man, good thing you're here.
Yeah.
You're really rocking it this week. So heme is what makes the patty taste like meat. So what is heme? Do you know what it is?
So it starts out, myoglobin is what is in muscle tissue. So all the meat that we eat has something called myoglobin. It's an iron and oxygen binding protein found in muscle tissues of all vertebrates and almost all mammals. It's distantly related to, fun fact, hemoglobin, which everybody knows what hemoglobin is. This is the stuff that's in your blood. It's red. So that's where heme gets that kind of red. So heme specifically is a molecule, and this is what makes meat taste like meat. When heme is heated, the molecule, like in a burger from a meat source, it releases all these other things and all these reactions. The Maillard reaction, when you cook stuff on a grill, the crisping and the burning, they can do that same thing with this type of heme, but this heme comes from a plant rather than from a piece of meat.
Right. So in animals, the heme, see how I did that? I got that right. It's important as part of the hemoglobin, like you said, carrying oxygen all throughout our body, which we really appreciate via the blood. And so, like, you know, when you like bite your tongue or your lip and it tastes kind of funky, like a metallic flavor, that's kind of like the heme flavor we'll go with. So in plants, heme carries oxygen still, but it doesn't do it via blood, which is really useful for this application. So the Impossible Burger contains heme from roots of soy plants, at least in 2.0, right? I guess it was.
I have some more detail on that.
Okay.
That's where it's found. That's not what Impossible Foods uses.
Right. So it's the molecules in the, how do you say it? The globin of
the hemoglobin.
In the hemoglobin. So for this application, food scientists actually insert DNA into the soy roots into a genetically modified yeast. And this is where it ferments and produces large quantities of soy heme.
Interestingly, though, fun fact, the Impossible's hemoglobin is not GMO because it's not an organism, it's a protein. So even though they are making it in a lab and they're taking DNA and putting it into yeast and growing, basically it's the same process that goes through brewing beer.
Sort of, but not.
It's fermentation. It's actually, they describe
but
it.
they're
It's
not
almost
injecting.
Well, yeah, they're not putting that, but the process of brewing it to
Right.
make the yeast is the same. And what they come up with, it's like 80% heme whenever they make it.
Yeah.
Where if they did this with the roots of soybeans, they would need like billions and billions of pounds and all that sort of stuff. Right. So that's why they decided to go with making it themselves.
So before we go on with any more about this, which is just a crazy Frankenstein-esque process in my opinion, let's take a break for a word from our sponsor.
I'm guessing it's going to be the Impossible Burger?
It is not. After your ringing endorsement of Burger King, it is not them either, actually.
Well, I like the Impossible Burger. I just don't like Burger King.
I like Burger King.
You would.
I would. We don't have a sponsor this week, which is unfortunate, but we do have a lot of shout-outs. One in particular. Don't look.
Oh, do I know this one?
No.
Okay.
Jeff D wrote in. I think we might have talked about Jeff before. He's teaching engineering at high school and wants some stickers for his class. Sweet. So they are on their way, meaning sitting in my office. Chris D also wrote in and found the live cast from MIT extremely helpful.
That was an old one. We did
that was
a
an
while
oldie
ago.
but a goodie. We
that
called
was a
that.
really good one. We need to do
I think
that
that was
again.
our first like real collegey one.
We need to do that again.
Yeah, we do. Zach O found us after our shameless trend jumping of Chernobyl and suggested we do an episode on Northrop.
What are you talking about? Shameless that's what you do.
I know. Oh,
we're
yeah.
experts at...
We are experts. Eric B is a med student, so we're really moving up in the world, right? Clearly smarter than us.
Clearly.
And suggests we do more on med technology. And last but not least, this is the one that you're going to like. Steve W. Feels like maybe that's your mom's alias.
Stevie W.
Wrote in. And I'll read the whole email. You know how I like to do that one. Luke is a great guy. James is a patronizing snob. Otherwise, I love you show. Ouch.
That is the best thing I've heard.
I mean, pretty much nailed it.
Nailed it.
But
I mean,
man, I was debating this. I was telling my wife about it as it really actually hurt my bum a little bit. I think people confuse patronizing and people just being right all the time.
Ooh.
If you're just right all the time, it's not. I'm not being
for
superior.
other people,
right?
Not
well,
you.
I can't help it that they feel bad about me being right. I accept when I'm wrong, like when I don't know how to pronounce things.
I
that
feel
you
like
say.
you're patronizing right now. Or patronizing.
Patronizing. I think it can be said both ways.
Okay.
Is that patronizing?
I love that. I love that. Thank you. That's one of the best ones I've ever received.
Yeah, it really is.
Thanks, Steve.
So
So if you
fan club's beginning
if
to
you
grow.
want to hear your name or subscribe or anything like that, send us an email. We'll send you some stickers. Make sure you give us a review. Hit us up on iTunes. You name it. Make us the most popular podcast.
Email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. Go on iTunes or wherever you listen. Leave us a review. That would be great. Subscribe, unless you're going to leave something like that. At least the guy loves our podcast. But yeah, hook us up with some love, and we'll hook you up with some stickers. All right, moving on. Before we get into any more about this freaky stuff,
Okay.
all of this like injecting stuff and genetically modifying yeast and all that, doesn't it just sound like it's going to give you cancer eventually, or make you grow another arm, or like plants grow out of you, flowers,
Potentially.
you start sprouting
You
flowers.
would look like Swamp Thing.
Like, which apparently was a really good TV show,
And
but too expensive.
And they killed it.
Yeah, they killed it. What do you think? Is it going to make you full of the cancers?
So I'm not sure, because the FDA, they're a really weird organization, from what I understand, and everything I read about FDA. So first of all, Impossible Foods did not have to get heme registered through the FDA because it's soy. It's considered this generally accepted as safe category. So they didn't have to do it. But they wanted to, because they wanted people to, realize this is healthy. So they sent it for approval. FDA was like, we need more info. Impossible Foods pulled the application and then did all their own internal testing, and they're basically saying it's okay. And basically what the FDA said is they don't have enough information to say that it's not safe, but not enough information to say that it is safe, which is, what's the point of having something like the FDA if they don't make any decision that helps you understand whether you could eat this thing? So I would eat it. I would eat it again, personally.
So the big problem, I guess, is what they call, and I'm going to say this wrong, so you can pronounce it as well, glyphosate, which is in small quantities in the Impossible Burger, but it comes from the genetically modified soybean process. So this glyphosate is an herbicide that's linked to a significantly increased risk of cancer. But the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency says that the herbicide is, quote, not likely to be carcinogenic to humans, even though it's been tested otherwise. So conflicting evidence exists for that. And moms across America, looking out for their little boys and girls, making sure that they're eating healthy, is a large consumer advocacy group, and is anti-GMO, says it's tested Impossible Burger at Health Research Institute laboratories, which sounds pretty official to me, and found, quote, highly dangerous levels of this glyphosate in the patties.
Yeah, so
that's something.
But again, it's not GMO because it's not an organism. It is genetically made. So the two problems that I found was, the first one is it's soy, but it's a part of soy that humans typically don't eat. Like, we don't eat the roots of soybeans. Right. So this is something they're adding to the food that forever, basically, we very rarely ever ate the roots of soybeans. Cows, they say, would eat, alfalfa, and they would eat the roots, and they would be potentially eating those, but directly we weren't. But I don't think so.
They get turned into regular beef patties first.
So that's one. The second one is that they say that because if it was just the root of the soybean, that's one thing. But since they're making this like chemically with, chemical engineers and scientists are making this in a lab, you kind of don't know what's going to happen and what some of that byproduct is going to be and what's kind of happening with that. So,
well, we'll find out in 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think it's probably okay to eat.
Okay, well, if you say so.
No, don't take my word for it.
Okay. Fun fact, the Impossible Burger is both kosher and halal certified. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
But it's not organic.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I guess.
No? I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, it is. So a little bit about the cost, Luke. As one example, at Red Robin...
Worst burger place ever.
You're supposed to say yum.
They used to be good. Not anymore. But go ahead.
You're so picky. I don't go to Red Robin very often, but when I do, I order the Impossible Cheeseburger. That's not true. It costs $13.49, while a gourmet cheeseburger made of beef costs about $9.99. Did you find that at BRGR or Burgatory, wherever you were?
It was Burgatory, and it was
Burgatory.
It was a little more
expensive.
Sponsor
us,
Ooh,
right? It was a little more expensive,
but not significantly more expensive. I think they're pretty expensive burgers there. So I think the regular burger was like $9.99 or something like that, and I think the Impossible Burger was like $11 something. So it wasn't
so
terrible.
Kind of in that same range.
Yeah.
Impossible does plan to roll out a version of grocery store ground Impossible Burger, which is going to be at a comparable price of USDA premium ground
Because
beef.
right now, the only way you can get it is at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So they're only selling directly to restaurants.
Did you see that back in the day when they were doing this, they were having trouble with supply, and they had to make some deals with other folks to really start filling the demand that was out there. And that's why it's now at all of these interesting locations, such as Burger King.
I think I might try the burger. There's a Burger King around the corner. I
There
might
is.
go back and try it. Nope.
No, you're not going to? I would. Maybe I will. I don't know.
If you don't do the Burger King, you should at a minimum try it at like Burgatory
I
or
think
Burger.
there's a
like-
Burgatory right down the road from me now, or maybe I don't know what
You
it is.
should try it. It's
I'll
pretty
give
good.
it a try.
It's pretty good.
I hope so. So before we continue on, should we take a break for this week's Luke's Rant?
We can.
All right.
So I'm going to keep this related to veggie burgers. So my wonderful daughter,
She is wonderful.
she recently, I'm going to say 6 months ago, decided to be a vegetarian for whatever reason. I'm going to be the encouraging father and tell her, whatever you want to do is, okay, and decisions you make are good. And we have literally tried every single, because we love hamburgers. Me and my wife, we love hamburgers. We eat them pretty frequently. And we cannot find even a remotely decent replacement. I mean, if you want to eat a giant, patty of chickpeas and black beans, then don't call it a veggie burger. Call it a black bean hockey puck. I mean, I just can't believe that Impossible Burgers are the only ones that can do this correctly. I mean, a lot of these companies have been around forever. Beyond Meat is one that I've seen that you can actually buy at the store. Super expensive. It does not taste like a hamburger. So I just can't. My rant is, number one, they're super expensive. They don't taste anything like a hamburger. And it's driving me crazy because I have to make separate food for my vegetarian daughter. And then I make these big, juicy burgers on the grill that are amazing. Do a better job. Or Impossible, get these in supermarkets quicker.
They're working on it, man.
Quicker.
They're working on it more quickly.
Because I would make meatballs. I would
More
make
quickly.
like chili with it.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll give us like a little discount card.
Impossible Burger, if you're listening, we would love your sponsorship.
I would.
We don't even need the cash money, just patties out the wazoo.
That's all I need is patties.
Couple fun facts about your rant, though.
Shoot.
You ready for this? Well, one, some countries such as France are actually putting laws in place for just this, where the naming of faux meats is being kind of regulated because of just what you're saying.
Can't call it a burger then or something like that.
Right, or you can't even call it meat or whatever. But fun fact also, there is a competitor, Beyond Burger, which uses different ingredients. Is this the one you were talking
Yeah.
about? So the main protein for Beyond Burger is pea protein.
Pea protein makes you fart like crazy.
Luke, this is a classy show.
Just saying, it does.
And its red color comes from beets, which I dislike a lot.
Yeah.
The beet juice is what gives the Beyond Burger the same bleeding effect that Impossible Burger has.
I've had that one. I was hoping that it would be good, and it was not.
It doesn't sound good whenever you put beets in something for me, unless it's Doug. And do you remember Doug, the cartoon?
Vaguely.
I think the Beats were the band in that. Anyways, is it safe for you? We answered. But is it better for you health-wise? So a couple of numbers here. A 4-ounce patty of Impossible Burger.
Okay.
Not super big, but a good size.
I'd get a triple.
Yeah, of course you would. Triple bacon, triple.
Yep.
Okay. Packs 240 calories. Not bad. 14 grams of fat, 370 milligrams of sodium, 19 grams of protein. So that's not so
sounds pretty
bad.
good.
But how does that actually compare to like a regular burger? So, because I don't know the nutritional values on that. So we said that a 4-ounce patty of the 2.0 is 240 calories. Ground beef ranges around 250 to 300. So a little better, but not overwhelming. So the Impossible Burger, though, also contains less cholesterol, sodium, and fat than beef does. So if those are things that you have problems with, maybe after eating Burger King 4 times a week, you could benefit from this. It also contains 3 grams of fiber. So if you have other problems, maybe this is beneficial to you as well. Animal meat contains no fiber. Since it's made of plants, the Impossible Burger has a whole assortment of vitamins that regular meat. Is it nice to call it regular meat?
No, it
that
is meat.
animal
It is
meat Okay, that meat does not have. But there's one thing that the plant patty can't match, or at least it can't do it
Ooh,
just
okay.
yet, and that's that animal meat contains lots of protein. So we told you 19 grams for Impossible Burger. 4 ounces of beef contains about 30 grams of protein. So a bit of a difference there.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think there's some trade-offs. Like I said, I think it tastes good. Anything we can do to, reduce our dependency on land. See, but then I feel bad because you got all these farmers, right? You got all these farmers that are raising, cattle for beef, and it's just like, do we really want to take their jobs away and, think about that? I don't know.
So
I think it's a slippery slope, James.
That's an interesting point for you to
There's a
make.
balance.
So, fun fact for you.
Shoot.
Maybe it's a bunch of facts. Impossible Foods has a mission, Luke. A mission of scaling to the point of eradicating animal agriculture for food by 2035. That's only, 1 plus 15, 16 years away.
I don't like that.
Well, I'm not saying they're going to get rid of it altogether.
But even if they
such
could,
a huge replacement.
But even if they could, I don't know if I like the idea of that because there's, I think there's a balance for this. But I think that's a bad idea.
I don't think they're saying this is going to be your only option. I'm saying that's their mission.
They just
to make
said
it
replace
possible,
all.
To make it possible,
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
By their estimations, they say that the patties will need only 25% of the water, 5% of the land, and 13% of the greenhouse gas emissions that would be needed to make the same patty from cows. That's a lot of good, Luke.
Oh, it is a lot of good, but you have to think about the economy. You got to think about jobs.
I'm thinking about the
economy. We
economy.
got to think about the infrastructure, and it's not just the farmer. It's the people that are transporting them. It's the people
You have to
working.
transport this. You have to make this.
Yeah, but not nearly
You have
as
to package
much.
this.
Yeah.
So you're just worried about the farmers.
No, I'm worried.
Future Farmers
I'm worried
of
about
America
all
is
the
backing us now.
Perhaps.
I agree with you then.
I just think that there's a whole downstream economy that's connected to meat production that needs to be taken into consideration. Maybe you let these farmers grow the
You're gonna
yeast for
subsidize
you.
it.
No, you don't subsidize them because I'm not big on that.
I know
But
you
maybe you allow them to grow the yeast,
Well,
so
go
transition
for it.
them.
That's the great thing about an economy, Luke, and supply and demand.
That's what I would
It works
do.
itself out.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Fun fact, Little Caesars, you mentioned Domino's. Little Caesars was the first pizza chain to put Impossible Burger sausages on the pizza.
I might have to try that. I'm not.
I haven't had Little Caesars in probably
Pizza.
30 years.
I loved Little Caesars back in the day.
I don't know.
It was like $6 for 2 pizzas.
I think it's still like
How
that.
is that
or like
possible?
$5 for a large or something. I think it's weird that, well, not weird, but good. It's not just the burger. That's what we keep talking about. But there's sausage and there's steak and there's other made up meats, and they're just going to keep growing in number and improving in taste, I'm told.
Couple things.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's talk about who is taking a bite.
That's a great thing to talk about.
You like that?
It is not me yet.
So
but-
these are the investors that have chosen to throw a little cash into
so
the
it's not that they've just said, yes, I've eaten this.
See what I did there?
That's really
See
good.
what I did?
You're on top of it today.
I am on top of it. So my boy Jay-Z, longtime listener of the show.
Long-time listener. Contract with the NFL?
Will Little I Am. He's the
Will I Am?
He's the guy from the Black Eyed Peas.
He is.
Jaden Smith.
Which one's that? Is that the girl
that is-
Smith or the boy Smith?
That is Will Smith's son.
That's the son?
Jaden, yeah, I
Okay.
think. Kathy Perry, Serena
Kathy
Williams,
Perry?
Katy Perry.
Jeez.
Wow. Serena Williams, Kirk Cousins, NFL quarterback.
Kirk Cousins of the
And then
Minnesota Vikings.
Big people. My boy, Chili Billy Gates.
Chili Billy. If you haven't watched our episode on Chili Billy, go do that.
Yeah, so he's thrown some money at it. Google Ventures, UBS.
What's
and
UBS?
It's just another investment. These are big investment companies that do this. And then Viking Global Investors. So they got some ridiculous cash, but they're not planning on doing an IPO anytime soon. Like I think they were being pushed to go, IPO, and I think it was just maybe like 3-4 months ago, the founder was like, yep, we're in no rush. We need to figure this all out and kind of get things squared away before we do IPO.
I didn't want to tell you this, but we are actually being pushed to go public as well. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, big push.
Our first offering is going to be 35 cents a share.
35 Impossible Burger patties.
And I do have a little bit of negative.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to finish on this?
Go ahead. Let's end on a downer.
So it's not really a downer. So you would think that PETA would be like, woot, woot,
You would think that. That's exactly
raise
what I'm
the
thinking.
roof, don't kill any animals,
But
vegetarian.
they're worried about being out of a job too, because once we stop killing the animals, what do they have
what
to
does
do?
PETA do?
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
So you would, and I think PETA was initially excited and happy about this was the story. And I watched a video from like the PETA, person, whoever that is. I forget what her name is off the top of my head. And it was like, oh, we're excited about this, blah, 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 blah. And then they did animal testing.
Plants have feelings too.
No, it's not the plants that had feelings.
Oh.
So Impossible Burgers did some rat testing. So they took rats, overfed them
And saw
some of
how
the
they
Impossible
tasted?
Burgers, and then they didn't see how the rats tasted. So they wanted to see if there's adverse side effects, and so they had to kill them and do the autopsy on them and examine So I'm not an animal testing person. If you can eliminate that at all costs, I think you need to do that. I mean, I'm not a member of PETA, but
I don't know how you really figure that out otherwise, though.
yeah, there are.
Who am I to say? I'm sure.
Well, there are
ways.
things that require animal testing that maybe the animal is cared for better. They're not killed whenever they're done.
Russia sent a dog into space just to die, or was it a monkey?
It was a dog, then a monkey. I think.
Okay.
So, So apparently PETA is not happy with them,
Well,
and
thanks for bringing me down.
yeah, it's unfortunate because I don't know if that would make a big difference because it wasn't their target audience anyways. They weren't going after vegetarians; they're going
Right.
after meat eaters. So maybe it's not going to affect them all that much. But
Yeah.
I give it a thumbs up.
I haven't had one, but I give it a thumbs up overall.
Oh,
Maybe two.
tastes great.
If I do two.
Yeah.
Let's end on a little higher of a note.
Okay, good.
If this made you hungry and you want to find an Impossible Burger near you, head over to impossiblefoods.com/locations, and you can actually track down your own Impossible Burger.
I might do that. Not tonight because I'm eating a whole
I know where your
boatload of
closest
pulled
one
pork.
is.
But yeah, I might have to do that tonight.
I think I might have to find one just so I can give feedback on it. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed the Impossible Burger episode. It was rather interesting. And
liked
it was a Luke topic, so there's that. Good job, Luke. All right, until next time.
See ya.